Honourable Independent Member for Clark.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Attorney-General. Attorney, Advocacy Tasmania welcomes the passing of the Guardianship Administration Amendment Bill as a step in the right direction to better protect people's liberties and rights. But they are concerned that the government is not urgently prioritising its implementation, given the human suffering we know is occurring. For every day, week, month or delay, even more Tasmanians will unnecessarily become trapped in this appalling system. Furthermore, they are concerned the implementation working group only consists of the same organisations that have brought untold misery to so many Tasmanians over many decades. Attorney, will you have rights-based organisations work alongside your working group to ensure the best possible outcomes for Tasmanians who have so long been failed by the government? And will you push to have the changes implemented as a matter of great urgency and not make Tasmanians wait? Tasmanians' lives are at stake and collaboration and transparency is essential.
Honourable Attorney-General.
Thanks very much, Mr Speaker, and I do thank the honourable member for a question on a very important matter which the government takes very, very seriously. So I do thank you for that question, and I thank, in fact, the former attorney for delivering on the reforms on behalf of our government in this space and strengthening the protections for Tasmania's most vulnerable. And that's exactly why we've delivered on the Guardianship and Administration Amendment Bill 2023 in September, just recently, Mr Speaker. So work is continuing to progress to implement the bill, which delivers on the second tranche of the reforms, Mr Speaker, to implement the recommendations of the 2018 TLRI review of the Guardianship and Administration Act final report, and of course the work of Damien Bugg, which we really appreciated as a government, and the report and his recommendations back in 2021. So there's a lot of work that's been going on, Mr Speaker. They are critical reforms, and they contemporise the work of the guardianship and administration laws in Tasmania. It represents a fundamental shift in the legal framework to ensure that model and that we're delivering on the protections for our vulnerable Tasmanians. It's really important. So we do take it seriously. Under the model, the views of the represented person are at the core of the decision making under the Act, and support is provided to extend and enhance the ability of a represented person to make and participate in decisions that affect their lives. It's really important, Mr Speaker. Given the fundamental shift to how the guardianship and administration system operates in Tasmania, sufficient time is required to appropriately implement these significant reforms. It's a very major reform, and we want to get it right to protect Tasmania's vulnerable people. Accordingly, based on advice I've received, it's considered up to 12 months implementation period as an appropriate length of time to ensure that TasCat, the public guardian, the public trustee and all the users of the guardianship and administration system can appropriately adapt and introduce the necessary cultural, operational and legal changes required as a result of the reforms, Mr Speaker. Importantly, this time will also allow for our vulnerable persons and their families and support persons who are currently engaging with the system to be educated on their strengthened rights and protections to ensure that all necessary system requirements, resources are also in place, that they may have confidence, Mr Speaker, that their personal directions, the values that they have, the preferences that they have are respected at a time of their need and a time that they choose to ensure that those decision-making matters are put right in accordance with their wishes, Mr Speaker. So many important amendments made through these reforms reflect the valuable and practical input by stakeholders and those with lived experience, and I again thank them for their engagement and involvement. I do thank Advocacy Tasmania for its involvement in this process, Mr Speaker, and will absolutely have ongoing engagement with Advocacy Tasmania, and the working group has proposed a commencement date, as I say, of September next year. But the government takes it very seriously, and if we can bring that forward in any way possible to ensure that the objectives are met, we absolutely will. If there's further information that I could assist the honourable member with, I'd be more than happy to do so directly through my office or directly with me, Mr Speaker.
Mr Speaker.